Hello everyone, Professor Toybox here along with Phineas, and today I'm going to build the Monster Truck Rally. This is an easy game to build and it's a lot of fun. And I just loaded up my toy box, so once again the first thing I need to do is come over and turn off the dynamic trigger for Candace so I can get into my editor. And I did that on purpose again in this video just to try to help remind you that you need to do that. And I think what happened is when I tried to get into the editor, I think somehow that messed up my base and I wasn't able to put down my tri-state terrain power disk. It wasn't recognizing it. But when I restarted today, it worked. So I'm going to come in here and go ahead and style this tree, which I had wanted to do last time. And I also noticed I'm missing a piece of fence over here. Not sure what happened to that, but I noticed that when I was editing my last video. So we're going to stick that in here, and we'll go ahead and style that as well. There we are. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to need is a vehicle to drive. And I could just come over to the ground vehicles drawer and place one of these here in the toy box. And that would work. There's nothing wrong with that. Because every time I load up this toy box, I'm probably going to want to drive. But I don't always want to use the same vehicle. Sometimes I like to use one of my vehicle power disks, in which case this vehicle would just be sitting here doing nothing but taking up memory. And then other times, though, I don't want to have to dig through my power disks to find a vehicle to drive. So to save memory, I'm going to use a vehicle summoner. And that's what I've placed over here, is a button from the Creativity Toys drawer and the vehicle summoner. And let me pick that up so you can see where to find it. It's in the Gameplay Toys drawer. And I'm going to go ahead and drop it. And notice how I'm orienting it, because you would normally read it with the IN that way, but the vehicle, when it spawns, is going to be facing the opposite direction. And since I'm probably going to want to race, I want to go ahead and face it in that direction. And to get my vehicle, it's really easy. We just hook up the button with a new logic connection when pressed. And there it is. If you're down too low on that, it seems to want to think that you're trying to select the sidewalk for some reason. But anyway, the vehicle I want is out of the toy box, and I'm going to use Mr. Incredible's sports car, because I think that's just a fun vehicle to drive. Okay, and then that will give us our vehicle. So if we come out of Spark mode, and there's our vehicle, and you can see which way it's facing. Now, before I save my game, I'm probably going to want to remove that vehicle, and so I'm going to come up to probably this button, and we'll do a new logic connection when pressed. We'll come over to the vehicle summoner, and we'll have it remove all of the generated vehicles, and that way I can reset before I save my game. Alright, and now we're ready to do the Monster Truck Rally. So I'll hop in my car and come over to the arena over here. Okay. So as I said, this is a very easy game to create. All you need is a challenge maker, and I've placed that over here. You need the monster truck panel, and let me pick that up so you can see where to find that. That is in the Gameplay Toys drawer next to the sound generator. And then out of the Creativity Toys drawer, we need a timer. So we have a time limit for the game, a scoreboard, and a vehicle trick tracker. And this one you find over towards the end of the Creativity Toys drawer, just before you get to the cameras. Assuming, of course, you've unlocked this toy from the toy store. And we also need 2 locators. for the start positions. So let's go ahead and start with the challenge maker, and we'll come down to the properties, and most everything under here is actually fine. I don't think there's anything we need. Points is good, high to low is good. All of the defaults are fine, so that's good. Then we'll do a new locator connection, and we're going to connect up to this first locator over here. And that will be the player 1 start location. And then a new locator connection on the challenge maker for the other locator. This will be player 2's start location. And you'll notice I've got the blue dot facing that direction to start. And the same with that one. That blue dot is facing that way. Okay, there's no logic for this toy, so you just place it and you're done. On the timer, we'll come under the properties, and for the timer, I'm going to set the target time to be 120 seconds. So that's 2 minutes. You can set this to be whatever you want, of course. For the visible display, I'm going to turn this off because I want to turn it on only during the game. And counting down is fine. For the scoreboard, on the properties for that, I'm going to set the play to the maximum possible, which is 999. It's not likely the player is going to score all of those points, but I don't want them to run into a time or a score limit there. And win by 2 is off, and these two are on, so those are fine. And then on the vehicle trick tracker, you come under the properties, you have one property here, requires them to have a successful landing for the point to be valid. And you can turn that on or off depending on how you want to play. I'll leave it off for now. If you have small kids, that's probably a good thing. All right, and then to hook these up, just a few logic connections. So we'll start with the timer, and on the challenge maker, we'll do a new logic connection. On invites accepted, we're going to come to the timer, and we're going to turn it on. So we're going to show the timer display. That's what I mean by turn it on. And then on the challenge maker, a new logic connection. When the game is started, we'll go ahead and start the timer. And, oops, I just deleted it. Okay. I was rubbing my eye, and I just deleted my challenge maker. So let me go ahead and place this and reset everything we've done so far, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I'm back, and once again, new logic connection. I already did invites accepted. On started, we're going to start the timer. Yeah, I was rubbing my eye because I had something in it and I lost track of what button my thumb was over. All right, new logic connection. When the game is ended, we're going to come over to the timer, and this time we are going to hide it. And then a new logic connection. When the results are closed, we'll come reset the timer. And that's it for the timer. Well, one more thing. On the timer, we need to do a new logic connection. When the timer expires, we need to come over and complete the game. And now we're done with the timer. Okay, on the challenge maker then, we'll move on to the scoreboard. So a new logic connection. On invites accepted, come over to the scoreboard and reset it. On the challenge maker, a new logic connection when the game is started. Come over to the scoreboard and we will activate it. And a new logic connection when the game is ended. Come over to the scoreboard and we will remove it from the display. And then one last thing on the challenge maker, we're going to link the score results connection. We're going to connect that to the scoreboard. So at the end it will pull the results from this toy. Okay, and we're almost done, believe it or not. The last thing we need is the trick tracker. And this is going to keep track of the players' tricks that they do, the loops and flips and whatever else. So on here, we'll do a new logic connection. And you'll notice there's 5 trigger signals here, and I need to hook up all 5 for each player. So we're going to make 10 logic connections. So when one trick is performed by player 1, I'm going to come over to the scoreboard and we're going to increment the score by 1 for player 1. And then on the trick tracker, new logic connection, when 2 tricks are performed by player 1, we'll come over to the scoreboard and increment by 2 for player 1. New logic connection when 3 tricks are performed by player 1 in a row. We'll come and increment the score by 3 for player 1. New logic connection when 4 tricks are performed by player 1. We'll come over here and increment, and I'm going to do this by 4, but of course you can string them together to award more points if they do more bigger combos. It's completely up to you, but I'm going to keep it simple. And then a new logic connection when 5 tricks are performed by player 1. We're going to increment by 5 the score for player 1. And now we're going to do the exact same thing for player 2. So new logic connection when 1 trick is performed by player 2. Come to the scoreboard, increment by 1 the score for player 2. And a new logic connection when 2 tricks are performed by player 2. Increment by 2 player 2 score. 3 tricks by player 2 will earn them 3 points. New logic connection 4 tricks by player 2. You really have to pay attention when you got all these different numbers flying around to make sure you're incrementing the right number for the right player. 5 tricks for player 2. Increment by 5 for player 2. And now if we open the logic menu, there should be 10 connections to the scoreboard. 5 for each player. And there you go. Takes a little bit of time to hook up that vehicle trick tracker, but that's basically it. Let's go ahead and give this a try. So we'll hop in the car. And let me hop out for just a second because I thought I had set up my boombox to turn off the music. Just want to make sure I have that set properly. Override all other music. There we go. Because I don't need Mr. Incredible's theme drowning me out. Alright, here we go. First thing we'll do is drive on to here and get our monster truck tires. And I noticed when All Night Gaming did this, he put his right in the middle here, and that's fine. Sometimes I like to keep my tires, though, and just keep them while I'm racing. Alright, we'll start the challenge. Phineas is facing the right direction. Let's see how many points I can rack up. I want to try to get into this sweet spot over here. Whoa! Ah, man. Not doing so good here. Some days you do well and some days you don't. Nice. I'm off the line though. Yeah, this should help. Ah! Now if I can't land it right and hit those speed bumps. There we go. Now we got it. Ah! I had it. Nice. Up to 30. Oh, big ear. Trying to hit the speed boost on my Wii U control here on the joystick.
I can't remember the last time I had this much fun.
It is a lot of fun. 44, wow, I did much better than I expected. Ah, it's going to come and land on me here. For some reason, the scoreboard didn't go away. That should have been removed from the display when the game was over. I'm going to go offline and take a quick look at that, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I did a little bit of experimenting, and when I played it the second time, it worked. But there is another logic connection that you can make, and that is to do a new logic connection on the challenge maker. When the results are closed, you can come over to the scoreboard and deactivate it. And I'm not sure whether that helps or not. When the game was ended and the timer ran out, it actually removed it from the display the second time that I played it. So anyway, that might help though to prevent that from happening the first time. I'm not sure, but at any rate, that's my monster truck rally. As you saw, it was pretty easy to build, and it's a lot of fun. Of course, you can always make the stadium bigger, add more jumps, and add some flaming hoops that you can jump through to earn more points. There are so many possibilities, but the logic would be mostly the same, so at least this gives you the basic logic for the game. And speaking of logic, I've got logic diagrams on my blog for those of you who want to build this for yourselves. The link is in the video description, or you can just visit the website that you see on your screen. Leave a comment to let me know what you think of my video today, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. That's all for me. See you next time.